Trick Esports continues their season looking quite strong as they have been a little bit more serious about their gameplay. Still having fun, but really enjoying the team as a unit as they continue to grow. Leftovers, though, still looking for their first win of this phase, and it doesn't look like they're going to get today as Trick Esports seems to be on point as we get ready for Battleground number 3.
Yeah, and it's going to be Volskaya.
I almost said Mecha Trailer. I love that trailer. It's really nice.
That should be, again, the map choice on the side of Tricked. I actually missed it on the graphic, but yeah, Tricked has picked this map the last time as well, and they have actually taken the victory there. So when it comes to map picks, at least, and also to the bans, there's currently some pretty clear indicators of how Tricked usually plays. So Infernal seems to be their first choice. They ban out Braxis every single time. They pick Infernal whenever they can. And their second go-to map at this point is Volskaya. So once more, leftovers give up the map choice and instead opt for first pick.
So right now, Trick Esports, if you were to describe it, is no Abathur and brawly maps. Find a situation that has control and team fights around an area, and that's what they want to fight.
Yeah, pretty much. That's currently looks what they are trying to do here. At least seems like it. I mean, we are still pretty early into the phase, so there's very little data to actually work with, but there are already a couple of trends that we can definitely talk about. When we've talked about the supports that are shining right now. Malthael being played a lot more this weekend. Uther still, even with the loss that he just suffered on the hands of Tricked on Infernal Shrines, sitting at a pretty ridiculous win ratio. He's 8-2 at this point. So some pretty interesting trends here. And the teams are watching all of those as well and adapt from week to week. And the interesting thing to me is that by now, globally, we have Blaze on a 5-0 record. He's 3-0 in Europe and 2-0 in Korea. Hasn't been played in North America yet, but that's definitely something that we need to watch out for to see, is that just because of the teams that played at each other? Is that a general thing where others will start picking up Blaze as well?
Yeah.
Is he only very map dependent? Or how exactly is he going to reshape the meta here?
Blaze being destructive. And a slight correction, you said Malthael was a support being played. It's Malfurion. If Malthael is not a support, please don't fit pick him and say Caldor said it was okay to pick this as a support. He can heal himself.
You know,
he can't heal his teammates.
The slip with Malthael was actually because he's a really interesting hero currently globally. Since
He's getting banned a lot, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting banned quite a bit, and in Europe he has 3 wins and 2 losses, so that leaves him with a 60% win ratio. But especially if you look at Malthael from a global perspective, he has 14 wins and 6 losses. He's doing very, very well, especially over North America, where he has nearly an 80% win ratio with 7 wins and 2 losses. So Malthael in an A, big deal. In Europe and Korea, he's also played and respected, but not quite to the same extent that he is in North America.
Nerf from Blizzard. Malthael is not one of my favorite heroes to play. Am I allowed to say that? Am I going to get censored?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Oh, that guy is.
The shooting squad is already outside the door.
All right, well, this is my last cast today. Thank you all for hanging out. It's been a joy. Caldor will now solo cast for the rest of his life. So get ready for horrible jokes and big smirks.
Hey.
That's what you're getting. Genji and Abathur are banned out.
I'm telling you, for Germans, my jokes are killing.
Yeah, man. They're wonderful. They are great. You had a good one this morning. What did you say when we were getting a bagel that had me chuckle? Never mind, that was a bad joke. I'm not going to tell it on the
I was thinking, I was just like, that joke was horrible.
No,
what are you talking about?
It's a bad joke. I can't repeat it. But I did giggle at Caldor this morning as I got ready to eat my Santa Fe bagel, which was quite yummy. All right, getting ready for game number 1 here with Volskaya Foundry. We see a Hanzo takeaway from Leftovers. Is that something they should consider here?
It's something that they think about at least, especially after how much success Tricked had with him against them. So I feel at this point it's not only do we play him, but also let's make sure that we take it away from Tricked, because Crosby has been killing it on the hero and you can only ban out 1 at this point. Abathur still banned out by Tricked. They hate this hero. They ban him every single time, and there's just every single draft starts the same for them. Ban
It's because he doesn't have a foot. I brought it back. See that? It took 3 games. I've been waiting for my opportunity, but it's here. I delivered. We're going to make Rimmer
Rimmer is going to appreciate it. Nobody else does.
The Abathur is annoying for Trick Esports. Yeah. And you can tell by their playstyle why they wouldn't like it, right? They want to group up, they want to be in brawls, they want to force fights, they enjoy the teamwork and the team fights. But Abathur kind of splits that apart, and if you aren't effective in your team fights, you get punished heavily. So that really speaks why they ban the Abathur so much. It just doesn't fit or gel against their style as much as they would like.
The only map where they don't ban Abathur is Tomb. Outside of Tomb, they ban Abathur every single time they get a chance to. It doesn't matter if they are first or second pick, they just want to get rid of him as fast as they can. And I mean, so far it's working out for them. Malfurion and Greymane being picked again, so once more highlighting the enhanced priority of Malfurion in the European meta. Greymane, of course, has an absolute insane involvement rate. It's not actually his involvement rate, which is so crazy, it's his pick rate. He's a hero that very few teams ban out in Europe. Most teams say, we're okay with you playing him, so he's currently sitting at an 80. He's played in 84% of the games.
That's a lot of games.
Crazy.
That's a B here in America's grading system. Malfurion will be there. Looking for our bans. We have Hanzo, Greymane, or I'm sorry, Hanzo, ETC, and Uther. So we do have the Divine Shield Mosh Pit combo that we've seen in the past, and maybe at this point Leftover's like, okay, we have to just go for a power side and a Mosh Pit and see if we can win a team fight, and that's why they're getting those two together, combine them. You give Lauber, who we know can be a great ETC, and now he has that support, that backbone that can make sure that he is landing the big engage that he wants. Trick Esport needs to make sure that they try to stop that from happening, grouping up too heavily, but also having some kind of disruption, and getting to that Uther can be a great tool for them.
Yeah, ETC is another one of these heroes that also has very mixed results when you look at it across region. We have ETC with 6 wins and 6 losses in Europe, so he's sitting at comfortable 50%. In Korea, actually, he has been seen 8 games played, and he won only 3 of them, so that's 38%. The surprising part is really, once again, North America. 17 games for him, and he won 13 of those. So ETC with a 76% win ratio in North America is currently the tank to take. It's also one of the reasons why he gets banned in North America way more than anywhere else.
Well, Li Ming is picked up as a counter to that ETC, the Wave of Force, hoping to prevent the Mosh Pit being effective from the team. Stormball also gives you some kind of disruption as well in case the Li Ming does get caught out, but Trick Esport has set themselves up well to control the ETC coming their way. And the best part about Li Ming too is she also brings in a little bit of burst too. If we don't have the heal pumping in for the ETC and he gets that big armor that he's allowed off of his trait, you can actually blow him up pretty well.
I really want to see if Tricked again takes place. They're still waiting for Alex Hero. And knowing Alex, he's just saying like, yeah, pick me Blaze all day long, I don't care. It's another map where with a lot of first of all, I feel for the fights, he's going to be great. And also his wave clear aspect is even more enhanced or more important on Volskaya. So I could definitely see Alex jumping back on Blaze here. Whereas for Leftovers, we also need a bit more damage. As you said earlier, they have already a good combo with Divine Shield into ETC. But whoa, Nova! I get the Malthael. Malthael is actually banned oftentimes here because he has such a huge impact on these fights. But Nova is unexpected, and here comes Blaze.
Leftover says, you complain about hero diversity? Don't worry, we got you covered. Pulling out the Nova. Nova? I wonder what build they're going to go for. They can go for the one in the chamber build, because that one spikes at level 7 and at level 16 when you get the armor reduction, and you can do well on that front line. But I'm a bit worried of how they're going to use her. Are they going to use her more of a flanker against Li Ming and Greymane? Because Muradin can change on a dime when he needs to get to the back line and protect. Malfurion to be safe enough. Ice Block at 13 makes it hard for him to get poked off. I'm actually really curious about this.
Yeah, me too. I did not expect Nova to be played at all. Blaze, I think, was a bit obvious. If you know Alex and how he thinks, and he was just sitting and drafting the entire time. Nope, I'm cool. Pick me Blaze, I'm fine. I'm gonna win this. Just like pick me Blaze and we're gonna win this game. And then all of a sudden Nova comes through. So it's an interesting touch. I don't know if that smells a bit like desperation for them, but then again, you don't YOLO out a Nova.
Oh,
you definitely practice that.
Yeah, they are going to pull off the Nova here, and I'm excited because now I have a little bit more knowledge over Caldor when it comes to hero. Nova
it's not murky.
Is a hero I mained for 2 days.
It's not murky.
It's not murky.
But it's getting close.
We're up there.
You talked about heroes, by the way. We were looking at global heroes of the storm with a pick of Nova. That means that we have now seen either picked or banned 58 heroes out of 75. So we're getting up there.
We're getting up there. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Game number 3. Will Trick Esport be able to hold off the onslaught of a Nova pick, or will Leftovers find their first win in the game from Nova the Sniper?
player killer number 1.
There she is.
Leftovers are down 2 maps. They have to get a win here if they want to have a chance to make it back into this series. We have to the left side, Portibos on Malthiel, Big Kidney on Hanzo, Lauba on ETC, Linked on Uther, and DAB on Nova.
On the right side in the red, Tricked Esport. Gonna be having Crosby on the Li Ming, Alex and Pro G back on Blaze. He is now a Blaze 1 Trick. Maoke playing Greymane, Rimmer on Murden, and Grandpa Kid is playing Malfurion.
Malfurion once again, and yeah, the Blaze 1 Trick. I mean, he's sitting at a 2-0 on him so far, so why change that?
Why fix it if it's not broken? Now, real quick, for level 1, the Nova pickup is going to grab Covert Ops, which means after being stealth for a period of time, I believe it's 5 seconds, yes, the increased reduction of movement speed. A slow is introduced, puts it up to 55% and will not cost any mana. This is a great opener for a Nova player if she's able to work it in.
I mean, Nova for a time really dominated Hero League since the patch changes, but I'm pretty cool. I feel really interesting that we have her now in this game here, and it would be amazing if this is the map where Leftovers with Nova takes down Tricked Esports. That would be crazy. Think about it, if, let's say, Leftovers, 10 years from now, they win the big championship and everything, they're on the top of the world, 100% win ratio.
And Heroes of Storm 4.
And they're like, our first win in HGC was with Nova, and everybody's like,
humble beginnings, great starts,
and
changing the meta.
Man can dream.
A man can dream. Well, we'll watch Nova here. Nova is actually going to be pretty solid on this battleground for a couple of reasons. Level 4, she does have Bribe available. Bribe increases in value dramatically on this battleground simply because of the items that are dropped off when it comes to Merc camps. The only one you cannot bribe is that camp right there in the middle, the support camp to grab the healing factor. But turrets are monumental. They are needed around the capture point. So expect Nova post 4, if she grabs that Bribe, to be grabbing those.
Oh, but for now, Lauba is low. Oh, he goes down, taken apart by a quick Moonfire on the side of Malfurion. So ETC not quite having that impact that they were hoping for yet. We still see the poke coming out of Hanzo, but the early kill goes to Drake this time.
And you saw Nova, sorry, we're going to talk about Nova all day. That is the theme of the game there. You saw her drop down the hologram right in front of Li Ming. This is to prevent, similar to a New Brock's Beatles, the combo from coming out. It will actually tank that big damage coming out from Li Ming if you're able to get in front of it. And the way Tricked Esports is handling this is they're going for a Q build instead, making sure that they don't have to throw out orbs too much.
Yeah. Also, in terms of builds for Blaze, again, it's pretty much the same thing that Alice has been showcasing throughout this entire series. Adhesive Petroleum, again, on level 4, on 7, we can expect him with his auto-attack talent, with the gauntlets. So keep an eye on that if you're playing Blaze a lot. He seems to be very set in the way that he plays the heroes. Also, keep an eye on him on the minimap too, if you want to mirror his playstyle a bit. He's currently the one that really tries to get the wave clear in and during the fights. With combustion and with all that oil spill, he's usually doing a fair amount of work. Helps out with the extra slow thanks to level 4 as well. There are a lot of tools, and they're already putting them into place as they're going straight again for Nova. Find the kill, and that is kill number 2 as Tricked Esports takes an entire level lead.
The weakness of a Nova pick. If she is caught, she is usually dead. And that was on full display there for a Tricked Esport. Jumping in, Rimmer locks her down with the slow, brings out the Storm Bullet, and easy pickings for Tricked Esport. And by the way, we are not getting that bribe at level 4. We are getting Rapid Projection instead, which reduces the cooldown of Hollow Decoy and the mana cost.
There's another thing that we also have to mention, because Leftovers are really lacking wave clear if you compare their lineup to what Tricked has. Blaze and Greymane alone are fantastic for the wave clear, and currently Leftovers can't really mirror that. So now that we have the first objective, it's a big question if they can win this one, and thanks to the Protector, maybe drop a few structures and get slightly ahead through that. That would definitely mitigate some of the advantage that Tricked has, because Tricked is now in a comfortable position with level 7 talents already early in their own hands, and that is a pretty big deal when you fight over the objective.
This is actually becoming a bit of an issue for Leftovers, and we've seen it consistently in games. They just straight up miss waves. They missed one wave on the top side. You were talking about the lack of wave clear, which should get better with Echo Pedal at 7 and the Explosive Arrow for Hanzo at 4, but still, they do this often. They just allow experience to disappear, and they intend to make up with it for kills, but it's not working out.
This is something that you can get away in a lot of open division games still, but if you are playing on the HGC level, it's a different story. So missing on wave, on lane experience.
A second wave.
That's something, for example, that Dignitas does absolutely fantastic, catching every wave. We talked about this yesterday when Dignitas collapsed as a 5-man into the mid lane several times, but they did it in a way that before it happens, they always timed it so they could spread out again to catch all the experience on lane. And that is something that Leftover still can improve on and would make them a much more dangerous opponent than they are at this point.
Well, they are committed to grabbing this Protector, continuing to keep people there. They have missed now 3 waves in the top lane, 8.25 to 7.25. In terms of experience, we do have Trick Esports finally making a play to move on in. It's something you can do if you're playing your own games. Soak the lanes on the side, allow your teammates to get, or your opponents to get a lead on the Protector phase, but you take the experience, and then towards the end come in and fight if you have the brawling nature in you. And Trick Esports has the brawling here between Blaze and Murden.
I'm currently waiting for the Malthael factor to play a role in this game, since there are a few maps where Malthael is consistently not banned out every game, but has a very high ban rate, and Volskaya is one of them. And we see a very similar thing on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Malthael currently is incredibly successful on NA, but right now he's not really having the impact just yet. Naka is low, but maybe Link falling first. Yes, Uther goes down, and Greymane able to walk away, but the Leftovers aren't done yet. They're still looking for a potential kill. The problem is that Lauba is really low, eats the orb, doesn't die, and the counter kill is finally there against Malfurion.
And DAB is actually a little bit healthy here on this Nova, and he's gone for one in the chamber build. If he can work in a couple of his projections, his holograms there, he'll be able to get out the damage and put out a combo. Even on Rimmer here, he could kill him if he gets a full combo off. He's sitting in full stealth on the side, but Alex Abrogi, wiser than you would think, moves in and reveals him.
Trick sits at 99% for the objective. Yeah, great kill against Muradin. That was really well done. We have Leftovers in a position where they need to stay, and finally Link is back. He can start to heal them up, and that might give the first objective over to the Leftovers. They get it, they get the Protector, and a lot of this was through the kill against Muradin, so great move here by the Leftovers. 2 kills against 3 now, but still a level behind.
Still a level behind, but at least they have a Protector, which should help them get the turrets here. Shouldn't be able to give forts. The first Protector doesn't do too much in terms of taking down infrastructure, especially if you have your opponents there for defense, but where you can get a net experience is through the other lanes, which you see ETC holding on the top, Uther and Hanzo. The issue is Trick Esports has just done a better job soaking overall, so they are already level 10, and that should be an easy defense. Yeah,
right now they need to make it. The level 10 that we're now having coming in on the side of Leftovers might make it possible for them to make a few plays here, but it's still one of these situations where you have to be very, very cautious.
Nova thinking about her level 10. Precision Strike will be the pickup right away there, allowing for her to follow up on combos. Great with the Hanzo arrow. Typically the heroic you want to go if you are going to play Nova. Triple Strike just for talking. Hang on here. Big ult comes in. It's going to be a wombo combo. It's going to be on Make. Make's able to dodge on the Precision Strike, but not enough. He gets picked up as Polyboss and crew and the Protector finish him off.
Yeah, right now we have... This is the moment where you can really start to build up a bit of momentum for Leftovers, and if they can carry that into the next phase of the game, that would be great for them. They have finally found a few kills, they've closed the gap in experience, and with the control on the map itself, they can now go for the healing pulse. So they go for the support camp, and that tool alone is going to give them a bit of an edge during the next fight, since there's still a fair amount of overall AoE damage with a cocktail, with Blaze, so you can negate that with a healing pulse quite nicely, and it makes up for one of the weaknesses that Uther has.
The more I think about this, the more Leftovers actually have a really good composition for just picking off one target. The Precision Strike is a 6-second cooldown, Hanzo's Dragon Arrow is 70 seconds, so they pretty much line up for focusing one target. If they're able to grab the Greymane, Leeming, or Malfurion, even Malfurion before level 13, they can just take him out and allow Malvio to clean up house on those tanks in the front, but they have to land the arrow.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I pointed out a little bit earlier. If you are in a situation where you can reach the late game with Malthael in particular, you can do a ton of work, because that hero thrives in these fights over the objective. So Polyboss in the late game is one of the things that is very worrisome for Trick at this point. If they can keep him alive, and with Divine Shield they should be able to do that, he can really be the game changer that they need.
Well, the game is changing for them on the top side as Trick opens up the fort. Arrow comes out. It will be on Make. Precision strike into a stage dive. They're going straight from Make. Finally, with the stun duration finish, he's able to get away, but not in time. Lauber comes in with the power slide, and now Malthael moves forward.
Greymane is down. We have the silence coming in, but so far Polyboss is still alive. They're trying to take him down. He gets the cleanse and moves out. But at the end of the day, Leftover still walks away with a kill against Greymane, and that gives them a huge edge since he is one of the main damage dealers on the side of Tricked.
And you have to commend Blackney here. He is making sure to be far away from the fight. He has to be both accurate and precise when it comes to landing this arrow on top of Make, because he wants to get the long duration stun, which is 2 seconds, and the damage, which is a good 625. This allows for Nova to set up her damage as well and land the precision strike. If he is too close, the combo does not work. So he's throwing Hail Marys here, and so far he's landed a few.
Yeah, he's doing work. And from a damage output perspective, we are, of course, now seeing next to Malthael also Nova starting to rack those points up a bit more. She's only sitting at 22,000 compared to the 29,000 that we have on Hanzo. But if you just cross-compare that to what we see for Trick, where Li Ming has the main damage with 23k, it's still pretty impressive.
And the good news, too, is that's going to start ramping up for that Nova on level 13 and 16. First off, double tap here, which allows for you to get double procs in when it comes to slowing down your opponent, but also the one in the chamber build, getting that extra auto attack damage in. And then at 16, when you get crippling shot, you now have a Hanzo who reduces armor, and you have a Nova that reduces armor. They can actually deal with tanks after that once they hit 16.
Yeah. 13 talents now for both of them. Still ETC down at the bot lane. This is their way of trying to deal with the wave clear that we see Blaze bring to the table. The global strategy. And that is actually a huge asset now for them. So they push to the bot lane, but that also means that the heroes up here at the top need to be a bit more cautious. And Malthael actually gets caught. Link might have to use the Divine Shield for him.
Arrow comes out, it's gonna hit Blaze. Alex Proji will tank that. We do have Polyboss on the side, trying to get some health here with the Divine Shield. They do blow up Blaze. He is taken out. Rimmer on the front line, also getting poked down. Link steps up, brings out the stun.
Player killer #1 in action, taking them down here. Job well done. Great move, especially once again by, of course, the... First of all, ETC coming in, slowing them down, and then pinning down Blaze at that moment, and Nova immediately following up with an ult, getting the kill in. And all of a sudden, Trick is really starting to struggle here. They were a level ahead early on. They were closing in on 10 so fast, and it looked as if they could get the first objective really easily, especially since Uther was dead for leftovers. They were extremely low on HP, but they somehow held on, waited out until Uther came back, got the kill against Muradin, got the first Protector, and now look where they are.
Yeah.
They are getting farther and farther ahead in experience now, about to win a second one if they play that card right.
And just to get a sense of how much damage was done by Nova in that fight, she did 6k damage in that fight with her entire combo and working in the auto attacks with the precision strike. So she is starting to ramp up pretty heavily and helping burning down their opponents. Now, Trick Esports does get Blaze back, so they go ahead and bring everyone into the fight. ETC should be able to start to peel off and have that stage dive available. So they're going to be careful for now and wait out Trick and kind of respond to what exactly they're going to try and play off.
16 would, of course, be fantastic on the side of the leftovers, but for now they're splitting here. They are completely giving up the top to Marker, trying to take a camp. ETC is still at the bot lane, tries to get the level 16.
They're going to give it up.
They're just giving it up.
They want 16. They don't want to risk it. They want to make sure that they have the slight talent advantage. They can work on the Protector. It's not too much of a threat.
It's still interesting to me that they just simply give it up. I feel they could have tried to stall a bit and maybe poke, have ETC on the off lane, get the experience, try to get 16 and go in for it.
I would have liked a combo attempt, at least.
Yeah.
They had everything.
But as long as they get the 16 now, they should have an easy defense.
That's true. Trick Esports taking the opportunity to poke where they can, so they can get their own experience and have 16 sooner than later. 16 does hit, and for the Nova, just to make sure, she has moved into the crippling shot, which will give in the armor reduction. So there we go.
And well, overall, let's have a bit of a look at how this goes now for Trick, because they are still waiting for their 16 talent. Now it kicks in. They still have 50% on the Protector, and they have another 30%. So they're trying to set themselves a little bit ahead here once more. But I really like the damage output overall that we have for leftovers. The way that DAB is playing Nova is working really well with the rest of his team. We have constant poke through Hanzo, we have the stun, we have Malthael capitalizing on it, and then on the back end, Nova is just waiting for an opportunity to finally drop a target. And this is working really well. So, yeah, interestingly enough, they are looking better than in any of the previous games now that they play a hero that most people don't even look at.
He goes straight for Make. Make gets stunned for 2 seconds. They turn around, they look at him, and Make is down. Tormented Souls being utilized. They're jumping straight onto the back line here, looking for Alex Aproji. He's staying nice and healthy thanks to Grandpa Kit, but it's
Alex.
a 5v4. Oh my gosh, he gets blown up.
They take him down. And the precision strike didn't even hit properly because Lauber by accident pushed him out of the circle, but it doesn't matter. They get the double kill, and again they move for the support camp. Another healing pulse for Leftovers. They are on a roll here. 7 kills against 3. Someone should take that healing pulse, and I would say it shouldn't be Uther.
They grab one, and
on Hanzo, okay.
The damage here for Leftovers is really showing itself. Flawless technique at 16 here for Hanzo, working in those storm bows and those auto attacks, allow for them to get extra damage in. It's actually quite a chunk in damage, 25% increase for the next 5 seconds every time you land that auto attack. So if they're able to find the targets, get the crippling shot into a flawless technique, you blow up targets. That's what happened there to Blaze.
Yeah, and just like the damage that we are currently seeing from them, 40,000 on Hanzo, 35,000 on DAB. They just out-damage their opponent completely. And Malthael is at 22k as well, but he hasn't really... I mean, the cool thing about Malthael, and this is something that Trick themselves used in the past, is that in a lot of these fights, he's the hero that demands respect. He demands attention. He goes in, and you want to deal with Nova in the background. You want to deal with Hanzo, but you can't because Malthael is in your face, and he destroys you. Alex, again, down here as well. So now, on top of all the team fighting that we see from Leftovers, they all also get these isolation kills, and they're looking great. The Kidney here could use the pulse, doesn't do it, jumps out instead, saves it for later. And I'm impressed. I'm really impressed by the Leftovers here.
What I like is they are just being decisive about a target. They find one and they kill them. If they miss, which we just saw for the first time here, they decide, okay, can we kill him? Yes. And then they just escape. They aren't going for sustained battles. They know that they don't want to poke against the Li Ming, deal with the fight constantly, allow Murden to get that Stormbolt.
I want to highlight again, though, I just talked about it a bit, but I just want to emphasize this. The idea behind Leftovers composition is very similar to what Trick did on Infernal Shrines. You have a combo with Malthael and Uther, or Rhaegar, any kind of panic button, so that Malthael can go in deep, try to survive, and when he gets caught, you just heal him up with either the Ancestral or you use Divine Shield. And outside of that combo, you have 2 heroes in the backline that can do a lot of damage. They can be Li Ming, it can be a Gul'dan. In this case, we have Hanzo, we have Nova. Any kind of squishy damage that just wants to capitalize on it, because your opponent has to react to Malthael. They cannot ignore him. They need to do something about him. In this case, there is no Inugorak that can simply drop a cocoon. And all of a sudden, you have the freedom on Hanzo and the freedom on Nova to dish out all the damage, whereas in another setup, they would be pressured by some melee assassin jumping in or some other damage dealer and could never get those damage numbers.
DAB being a little bit risky here, sitting on the back line, setting up for a flank, goes straight for the Li Ming, but Murden is right next to her. Can Nova get out? She starts to escape. The hologram is the focus for Trick Esports, but the Malthael with the Tormented Souls, he wants to fight, and he's diving forward.
Yeah, but I don't like this engage at all for Leftovers. They might get the kill on Make, but they do, thanks to Malthael. But the fight that they just fought, that was really not the way that they want to engage this, because what happened this time compared to all the other fights that we've seen before is Nova started the engage with an immediate ult, not capitalizing on a stun. And even using the combo with ETC also jumping in before Malthael had any impact. So Malthael jumped in after all was said and done already, and then used Tormented Souls. And if Greymane doesn't fall here, and it was close, if Greymane doesn't die, then you are in a situation where you just used 4 of your heroic abilities and didn't even get a kill. So that was a very risky engage on their part. They should always wait to get the damage with Nova out once that Malthael starts to engage and drop his own ult as well. Then they have a way bigger chance of actually getting a kill, or at least waiting with a precision strike until someone gets the first stun in.
I mean, not only that, if Greymane didn't fall, it would have hurt, but if Rimmer actually landed that Stormbolt, that would have hurt too. Nova would have gotten picked off right away. Now, there is a case for we try to just surprise our opponents and get a quick pick off. That way we could really just take them out of the loop, but still a very risky maneuver for Leftovers that pays off, but something we wouldn't recommend is basically what we're saying here. The Protector being grabbed on the bottom side, 75%, should be able to be grabbed pretty easily here by Leftovers, as Trick is grabbing level 20.
Yeah, the 20 advantage is giving them the edge, and that also gives them the free Protector at the bot lane. Now, they need, of course, to try and make something happen with it. Oh, actually, they've done really, really well on even talents in all of these fights. And Nova on 20 is extremely scary. Having the option to go straight into the rewind now, that increases the damage output on DAB sides immensely. So if he is in a good position, he should be able to more or less one-shot anybody now after a proper stun setup.
Okay, HGC continues to hold the top lane for now. Should be able to clear that out. Stage dive is up and ready. So some poke from leftovers as they attempt to work their way through this front wall. Would love to get that keep. Definitely one of the main goals. Wave of Force comes out. DAB gets pulled in, but he is safe. Rimmer not able to lane the Stormbolt.
Yeah, Rimmer misses the Stormbolt, but we have now 19 minutes in Cocktail. Quest on 7 is completed, so that is going to increase the damage. Here comes the ult. And I really don't like those position strikes without the stun setup first. Throwing it out here has a 60-second cooldown, but now you have to walk away from this. And that was not something that you needed to do. The chances of actually getting a kill here without any kind of assistance were a little bit low. But they're doing the work. This is just one of those games where leftovers have really done extremely well, but they still need to be careful because they've lost most of the games they've played so far where they got ahead in the late game and all of a sudden their opponent's coordination was just simply superior.
Trick is starting to wisen up. They have realized that Hanzo is always backing up, dropping the arrow first, and they allowed for it to connect with Maki, but they spread out to make sure there was nothing for them to lose him to, and also were in a position where they could protect him from a dive coming away. With Precision Strike not being there, it was fine. Tricked Esports gets out the heroic.
Again, we have to also highlight how Leftovers, how Tricked is the way more experienced team here.
Yeah.
So Leftovers, they have played a few games last weekend, of course, but they are still in situations when they need to adapt a little bit on the fly here and say, okay, how do we deal with this? Do we make the play for keep? We don't really have a talent advantage right now. Do we jump in with ETC and try and use the Protector? Do we just play around it and try to control the map again? So they just push the lanes out, but they find themselves in even on eye level with their opponent again. Great grab, going for the healing pulse again. Lauber has it at the front right now, so that works for them. Drop the turret just to secure the item, and they did. But they still have the option to get these kills, and I feel at least around the next control point, we're going to see that even more. And then I want to see that combo again from Leftovers and playing that composition properly. Because Tricked has a ton of kill potential. Yep. One Stormbolt hitting by Muradin as Rema missed the last few. One Stormbolt hitting and that could be lights out.
There's a stage dive. Rema comes on the side, goes to the back line, doing his best to stay alive, has to be careful of the rewind. Alex Koji goes forward with the combustion. Crosby's getting focused by the Tormented Souls.
Yeah, and here we come again. This is just Malthael doing so much work here. Maybe not getting the kill, but definitely demanding that respect that we talked about earlier. And if DAB is not so trigger happy on that ult that he just used, they could have gotten the kill on either Muradin or maybe even Blaze. They were all low and they were all trapped, so that was a great spot here. Don't get me wrong, we're nitpicking here. DAB plays a great game on Nova. I'm really liking the way that they are playing this, and you can really see a clear idea behind this composition. But if he holds his ult back a little bit longer during some of these fights and then drops it, I feel they can get these kills against Tricked, and I find that impressive.
On the other side, Tricked Esport has managed to weather the storm of the initial impact of the ults, but the problem is the cooldown is actually pretty low. We're about to have Precision Strike and Dragon's Arrow up once again. The main issue is Tormented Souls not being here for another 40 seconds, but Tricked Esport shouldn't get a fight if Leftovers play safe.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is if they ever do and get the kill, then Tricked has the experience and has the know-how to run with that advantage and put the screws on, and then it's a question, can Leftovers recover? Because the one thing that Tricked excelled at was getting these hits earlier.
Arrow whiffs in the middle.
Yeah, but they go for Blaze. Here comes the quick cleanse. Everybody jumping in. Is this the kill? There's the precision strike. This one actually hurts, but DAB is low, so is Lau, but DAB in the backline still moving away here. Healing Pulse was already used. Nice damage against Rema Ball at this point, and Hanzo once again with a scatter shot also delivering a few more damage points.
They just can't kill each other. What a fun game. The way it's being played by Tricked Esports, Leftovers trying to find that one moment, the Luke Star Wars moment of finding the fight where it goes straight in there with Luke Skywalker trying to land the big hit and kill the Death Star. We'll see if Tricked Esport allows them that opportunity, but with them being tanky on that front line, they're holding while they can, Malfurion keeping everyone nice and healthy. It's going to come down to another control point.
Yeah, and this is now when we went for a precision strike again, because Malthael has his ult ready, and this is the control point we've been talking about. Also, a quick update for you guys. 65,000 damage on a DAB's Nova right now, and we have 63,000 for Crosby. So when it comes to, only me, so when it comes to the damage output, we are looking at a pretty solid Nova play here from DAB, and especially after we've seen him hit level 20, that has just increased.
Turret on turret action down here on the side here. Trick Esports has set up an anchor on the bottom right while Leftovers controls the point. Overall, the turret for Leftovers has fallen, so Trick wants to start moving forward here, trying to find the opportunity. Stage dive comes out, arrow misses!
And this time, Precision Strike doesn't hit anything.
Nova.
Way in the back. Nova gets the Divine Shield. That means it's not available for Malthael, as he's jumping in already. Ling is the one that is actually really low. He drops, but he has Redemption there. Immediately jumping on Malthael, and this is the end of him. No Divine Shield for him, since it had to be used on Nova. And this could be a disaster for the Leftovers. They lose Malthael. Uther has to proc his 20, and DAB is now on the run. Not getting hit, not getting revealed, but still being chased, and Link body block up here at the top. Trick Esports have all of a sudden opened up an opportunity for themselves to take this.
But they still have to take the Protector, and they still have to get through a keep. Nova did survive on the bottom side, so only Malthael and Redemption were lost. Uther's already back on the field, and remember, they have that armor reduction. They can shred this Protector pretty quickly, especially if anyone jumps out of it.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to the fact that you need to keep Nova in the back with this idea so that you can use the Divine Shield on Malthael. And once the Divine Shield was on Nova, the immediate call was kill Malthael, go for Malthael, and Trick coordinated it well. Now they go for Lauber. Rema is low, maybe going down. No, the Precision Strike doesn't hit. Lauber himself, on the other hand, might still fall, and yes, he does. ETC is down. DAB going deep right now. He wants the kill, but I think this is going to be the end of him. No, Stompbolt missed again by Rema Baller. Alex is trying to chase him down, though, using Combustion here. Link is also low, and he's about to fall. He doesn't have his trade available, and that is the end, not only of Uther, but also of Nova.
Only Hanzo and Malthael are left over for Team Leftovers. Trick Esport continues to move in, grab the control point, get the Protector, and they'll have some time here. A good 30 seconds before ETC is even up. 40 seconds plus for other members for Leftovers. They should be able to grab a keep. 9
kills against 8. Leftovers have been dominating this game, and then after 20, Trick's coordination was a bit better. They were more patient, way more patient. In the initial fights, they were overly aggressive since they had the momentum from the previous games as well, but then they realized like how dangerous Leftovers composition is, and they played it a bit slower. Here comes now Poryboss once again with the ult. It's a 2 versus 5. Not quite sure what the thought process was here. I mean, he's gonna die now, and I don't really think that was needed. They're gonna lose a keep one way or another. The chances of...
I mean, if he had buyback, that makes sense, but he has Death Curtain.
That, I feel at this point they're really starting to panic a little bit, because that was not needed at all. You can't just sacrifice the keep and then try to defend the core with 4 to 5, but now they are 3 versus 5 again, and that is going to make it so much harder.
Trick Esports does not care if you're panicking. They are well composed, going to be able to ice block the Precision Strike. Grandpa Kit takes some damage on the backside, but the core is the main focus. 50% down to 40, continuing to drop. Can Trick Esports push and finish this series? It's looking like it here with a 3-0. A hard one in the end. They're still able to grab the clean sweep over the Leftovers.
Really nice comeback by Trick. But I have to admit that at some point you just want Leftovers to at least make a bit of an impression there. And to be honest, I think it just shows that there is an experience gap. Because towards the end, the one problem that they had again in these team fights is that Nova tried too hard to get these kills.
Nerves kicked in
fast. Yeah, exactly. You realize how far ahead you are. You realize you're going to win this if you play it right, and then you just want the kill too much. You rush a bit. It's also the last Precision Strike. For that Precision Strike, like, he moved very, very far out to already see what's happening there, trying to get vision, trying to see maybe he gets a kill. Then he's out there, lands the Precision Strike, but is already way too far forward overall that the Divine Shield has to be used on him. So he's the one who set up a lot of these kills. I'm not trying to say it was the fault of DAB, not by a long shot. It was just the overall coordination where they did better in the mid game, and then in the late game, I think nerves kicked in.
Yeah.
And Trick just said, boys, just step back right now. Let's take this easy. We still got this. All we have to do, we wait for one mistake, one ult used the wrong way, and then we have an opportunity, and they took exactly that.
And tread with the patience, the composure, just to make sure to take over the late game. Because it's kind of nerve-wracking, especially here in HGC. If you're losing to a Nova composition, that could put some doubt into you, right? It's Nova. She's not supposed to be beating us. People say that she's not the best hero in the world, and yet Leftovers is taking us out one by one. For them to collect themselves, prepare for that late game, and make sure to get the perfect opportunity to win the game, kudos to Tricked.
Yeah. I mean, Nova is stronger now, and I really feel it comes down to the composition again. Malthael at the front, 2 heavy damage healers in the back. Worked for Tricked, nearly worked now for the Leftovers too. And that composition is actually scary.
It's deadly.
And this is one of the reasons why Malthael gets banned on Tomb and on Volskaya so much, because exactly of this combo. You got the Divine Shield, and if Uther doesn't have to use it for anybody else before the fight happens, Malthael is going to be a big problem. He can keep himself alive, he has great self-sustain, then he gets the Divine Shield whenever the opponent focuses on him, and in the meantime, you have a lot of room, space, and time to do damage with your backliners. So Malthael banned for exactly that reason oftentimes. In this case, we saw once again the ban on Abathur and then on Dehaka later on. But yeah, Leftovers, again, not successful, don't win a map. They are 0 and 9 at this point.
It hurts.
Definitely hurts. But they show sparks of life. It's just, we can talk about potential